Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a little tabletop video inside. It's a nasty rainy day here in Georgia, and I have a topic that I wanted to talk about that was been discussed. I get several messages about this on Instagram, and I figured I would, in my limited experience, give you a rundown on some of the components that's more commonly available for loading 45 Colt. Now, I'm sure there's tons of other channels and videos that cover this topic, but like I said, I get this question a lot in my Instagram, and I figured I would show what's commonly available, so to speak, as of right now, March 2024, that can be had for loading 45 Colt. Now, when you find it out on the market as far as factory loaded cartridges, it's generally kind of expensive. I've been set up for hand loading for, I don't know, several years now, and I'm up until last year I was mainly loading for rifles, hunting cartridges such as that, 223 plinking stuff in my yards and whatnot. I really got into handgun loading because 45 Colt is probably my favorite handgun cartridge, and it got to the point with COVID and all the ammunition shortages and things that we experienced then, it pretty well was not available, and when you did find it, it was really expensive. So it was really cost effective to load, and I got to keep shooting my favorite cartridge. So we'll dive off into this. Like I said, this is my experience and opinions and what has worked for me. I'm not saying it's the best. I'm not saying it's the best for your application, but this is things that's out of the books, and I'll show you the books that I have, kind of go over some of the components I have that are more readily available for loading in 45 Colt. Okay, here's the star most of my videos. If you haven't been to my channel before, this is the main thing that I shoot. I've got this in a Marlin 1894, but we're not talking about this today. We're talking about components. And generally, bullet selection is going to dictate what kind of powder you use. I started out, when I first got into loading 45 Colt, shooting Hornady XTPs. I've since learned that XTPs like a little more feet per second to make them expand better, mainly in the Ruger range. After experimenting with those, I got into casting bullets and buying cast bullets. Excuse me. And I found that my Ruger in particular, and like I said, this is going to apply to each person's application a little different, what you're shooting. I found that the wad cutters, semi-wad cutters, are one of the best bullets that I've had. They have a nice meat plate, and they seem to shoot well. If you don't cast, rim rock is probably one of the better places to get them. Montana Bullet Works, I've shot a lot of their stuff and it's good. Rim rock makes a great bullet for the money and quantity. You can get, like I said, these right here, they come 400 to this box, and you can see, depending on what you get, you can get all the way up, you know, to 800-900. I think that's mainly for the 38 caliber stuff. Most of the 44 and 45 caliber rim rock bullets, these are the 270 keys. They come in boxes of 400. They look like this right here. They're pre-lubed and yeah, commonly available. When it comes to, after you decide what bullet you want, if you don't have any empty cartridges that you've shot and kept, these are some that I've shot one time and or have been tumbled and are ready to load again. If you don't have cartridges that are already on hand that you can reload, Starline brass is probably the most readily available as far as if you're going to buy new brass out of a bag to start fresh with. Winchester used to be pretty popular, and so was Remington, but I haven't seen their components around. So Starline brass is probably your most common brass, and a lot of companies that load 45 Colt will use Starline brass. It's probably the best brass on the market, in my opinion. So Starline brass for your brass needs. Primers. Primers has been a thing lately that's been sort of hit or miss with loading anything that's large pistol. And from people I talk to, it seems to be that has to do with region. I've got friends in North Carolina who load, and they say they have more problems finding small pistol primers. They can find large pistol primers everywhere. Here in Northwest Georgia, large pistol primers are sort of hard to come by. I did find these Magnums a while back locally. You can see they had their sticker on there. They were $10 for 100. But for the most part, when it comes to primers, my suggestion is get on some of these companies' websites, like Brownells, for example. I'm on their email chain for notifications. That's where these Federal came from. I found, can't remember if I got these from Mid-South Shooter or somewhere like that. There's several companies out there who will send out notifications to get primers. For me, I've had the most luck with Brownells. They generally get Federal and Winchester in here regularly. And when they do, they'll be available and they'll sell out pretty quick, and you'll just have to get back on the chain again until they get more in. So sourcing primers might be one of your harder things depending on your area. With that aside, on primers, powder. Most of my loads here lately have been with Unique. This has been unavailable for the last 3 to 4 years. The only way you're going to find Unique is to find somebody who is got a supply of it and will trade with you or sell it to you, or you need to find somebody who has a lot of components, estate sales, stuff like that, or tried reloading and didn't like it and bought stuff up and they're trying to make their money back. Unique is very versatile. It's one of the most unique unique powders there is, hence the name. It's been unavailable, so don't expect to try to find Unique. What I'm gonna show you is what I have found that's commonly available for loading 45 Colt. 2400 is another choice if you want to do Ruger loads. This has been hit or miss. There was a small batch released end of last year, first of this year. I got some 2400, but don't expect to find 2400. Places that list this, get on their email chain, get notifications. Again, this comes from Brownells. They got some in, I got it. Mid-South Shooters had some for a while, and it seemed like a lot of places, if they wasn't getting 1 pound quantities, they were getting 8 pound. So if you know that 2400 is something your gun likes and that shoots well, buy it in 8 pound quantities if you can buy it. If you're wanting to load develop and don't want to buy 8 pounds worth because you don't know what it's going to do, email chain is going to have to be what it is for this, and get on them notifications, because this has been hit or miss. This is another one that's not readily available. Now, another Ruger only powder that is everywhere, or at least in my area, locally and online, is H110. H110, you can see on the front here, 357, 41, 44, Magnum, 454, 475, 50 Action Express. This is a Magnum powder. In 45 Colt, it is absolutely Ruger only, or a rifle. Don't try to get this if you're shooting a single action army or a clone. This right here will destroy your gun. This is readily available for you Ruger only people. Next thing that's readily available Winchester 231. I've seen this stuff everywhere, online and locally to me here in Georgia. I'll go over in a minute some of the load data out of some of the books, but I'm about 99% certain this has got single action Army load data, and it's got some stuff on up into Ruger only. So this is a pretty versatile powder. I've had decent luck with this. So 231, one that's commonly available. Another one that's everywhere that I've tried, Hoden TI Group. It's everywhere, and this even got 45 Colt listed on the front right there. So TI Group has been everywhere. I find it locally, I find it online. This is one of your common components. I'll set these out here and we can sort of see them. Another one that's readily available and I'm finding everywhere, Accurate number 5. I've loaded some with this. I'm trying to remember if I've loaded any cast with this. I'm not sure. I know I've loaded some of the XTPs with it, and it does okay. When it comes to reloading, I found that I try to go by chronograph numbers and check, the extreme spreads and deviations that way. But if in today's time, if all you can find is all you can find and you want to shoot, you're not so much worried about pinpoint accuracy and you want something that's fairly accurate and decent, any one of these three will load something that will shoot. Not saying it's the best, not saying it's the worst. Could be fantastic for your application, but these three powders are the most readily available. Now, when it comes to books, this is the one I used forever and ever and ever, starting out. This is the revised 2021 edition. I had access to one that was older than this that I got some data out of when I was just mainly focusing on rifle cartridges. But the Lyman Manual, it has plenty of data starting out. I'm gonna get it over here to 45 Colt when I find it. There we go. Most of your common bullet sizes is going to be 250 grain, 255 grain stuff. But just here's an example. Let's see, Winchester 231. Max load. See, I mean, you're getting up there 900 feet per second with a max load of Winchester 231 with a 250 grain lead bullet. If you wanted to dial it back, the minimum 5.8. So Winchester 231. TI Group's listed right there on the bottom. Let's see here. Accurate number 5. Is it in this one? I don't think it is. See, accurate number 5, if you're going to use 250 grain copper plated, or if you're going to use a XTP, accurate number 5 is listed right there. If you go over to a 255 lead, which is a common, so you got accurate number 5 listed right there for that. So those, like I said, and that's why those three are the probably most readily available powders. I used the Lyman book for a while. The Lyman Manual for a while. I've got for cast bullets, I've got a Lyman cast bullet handbook. And let's see what it has for 45 Colt in that handgun data. Let's go over here to our most common, our more commonly available bullets. 454 190s, 452 664s. Let's see. TI Group's in there, 231's in there, accurate number 5's in there. Same thing with that. Going up to the 454 424, that's a common one. Accurate number 5, TI Group 231. So that's Lyman cast, the Lyman, the pistol and revolver handbook, which I think it's got a lot of the same data that's in the cast one. It may have some extra, has some jacketed stuff in here. Let's see. If you look in that, it's got like 240 grain jacketed. Accurate number 5 is listed there. That's for a 240 grain jacketed. 250 grain jacketed hollow point. 231, accurate number 5, tight group, all 3 of them. So y'all get the picture. These 3 powders is probably the most readily available that you can load 45 Colt with. And to load them to single action Army safe. Now, one book I'd recommend picking up, and this is another one I found browsing the pages of Brownell's website. One book, one caliber, complete reload manual for 45 Colt. This has just about every bullet and powder combination that was available at the time that they gathered this data. And I don't know exactly when this book was compiled. Copyright 2016. So it's going on almost 10 years old. But for example, if you wanted to use Hornady bullets, 150 grain XTP, it'll tell you, if you look, tight group, 231, accurate number 5. And it also, the good thing about this book is it's got single action Army safe, which is like this one. And then each section has a Ruger Thompson Center rifle section that'll tell you the hotter stuff you can use. For example, 250 grain XTP, IMR 4227, 2400, accurate number 9. That's your more magnum powders, and it'll tell you rough estimate of the velocity and what charge used. If you got a specific brand of powder you want to use, there's certain, like Hodgdon, for example. You can go to the Hodgdon powder section. Let's go to 250 grain cast round nose flat point. It'll tell you all the powders that Hodgdon has and the weights for them. This is single action Army. See, 13,000, under 14,000 PSI, but see, 231 is listed. Tight groups listed in the Hodgdon section. So, Hodgdon owns Winchester, is my understanding. That's why they've got it listed in the Hodgdon section. I don't know that Winchester even has a powder section in this book. It might, or I think they may just roll it up under. Oh, it does have Winchester powders. It has exactly one load data, 231 for a 255 grain lead. And that's the only one it has, so that's pretty interesting. But anyway, not to run this video too long, that's sort of the most common components I can find as of right now. Well, there you have it. I'm trying not to get too long-winded on this. We could talk about reloading for hours. I just wanted, like I said, based on a lot of the conversation I was getting, I wanted to show y'all sort of what I find that's the most commonly available components today. Because I get this question a lot through my Instagram and on some of my comments here on my videos. What powders do y'all use? What have y'all had good luck with? If y'all want to leave some comments below where other people can read and do some research for themselves, I'd be happy to entertain and see that. I enjoy getting the comments that I get and reading them. So if y'all have any recommendations on what's commonly available sort of in your area and what you're using, drop it in the comments below. If this is your first time visiting my channel, I'd ask you to like and subscribe. Check out some other videos I've done on the reloading. Within the past, I don't know, year, I have progressed, I feel like, a lot in the reloading department for 45 Colt. The biggest thing was getting a chronograph and learning how to read it. And it really helped me be a better reloader, trial and erroring some of the stuff and talking to other people. The data's out there. Just make sure you know what you're loading for, and you use extreme caution, especially when loading for single action army or clones. You don't want to put Ruger only loads in that, and vice versa. But check out my other videos. If you're over on Instagram, check me out over there. I'm under the same handle, J_C_Hunt. I'm always posting sort of behind the scenes of what I'm doing over there. I've sort of wound down on the 45 Colt for now. I've got something coming up that's going to involve Smith & Wesson Model 10s and 38 Special. So there's going to be videos to come on reloading for that in the future. So as always, I appreciate y'all. Y'all keep learning and happy shooting. Thank you for watching.